if I manage to find the right button. Um, it's hot. Sorry I'm late today. Had to take a quick shower. You know where Fiiish lives, right? Fiiish lives here, and I looked into auto builds for Unity and Godot, and doesn't seem to be too complicated. So they're probably gonna do that. Plus, also I looked into the rider license, yeah, and I'm not paying $30 a month for a text editor. No, no. I mean, they did a nice job, but I'm not paying $30 a month for a text editor. So where did we leave off? Right, we still are in the mode of probably recompiling because I updated Rust. Yeah, I would have guessed. So we are still in the mode of redoing Fiiish in Godot and in Unity. Nothing changed about that, right? And I believe we got a quite good progress in Unity. In Unity, which is compiling. I just pressed play on a project that was working, right? So as soon as I start swimming, I get the rocks, and it's just 3 hard spawned rocks that keep repeating forever. I hope they move out on the left, on the left, and come back in. And when I hit the rock, the fish dies, the obstacles stop. This needs to be faster, but we want to redo the original one, right? And when I respawn, all the rocks are gone. So that works in Unity. I think Godot is a bit behind. We tweaked the swimming to be correct. Okay, we didn't tweak the swimming. So the swimming, let me noise outside. So swimming works, but it doesn't taper off at the end, right? So we have to look into that. Plus, we did the kill. Same problem. It's slow as hell, and that thing out there is super noisy. I would hope it's gone soon, and then I can respawn, and we're there, right? So where are we in the plan? And let's close this. This is just for reference, right? And we did set up Unity, the basic project, edit the fish, set up obstacles and collisions, and then we add basic fish movement in Godot, right? So I think we want to catch up to Unity a bit, and so we can mark this. And obviously the fish movement is broken. And I did some numbers. I think we're about 2 hours into Godot. First episode plus intro plus a little bit, and about 5 hours into Unity. So we understand why Unity is a bit further ahead, right? And we're still doing that leapfrogging. We do 2 items in Unity, then 2 in Godot. So we never get into this mode where we always do Unity first and then Godot. We want to do a fair comparison in the end. So as you see, my head is overheating totally. So we have about 3 hours today. That's 3 hours. So that should get some stuff going. I have no idea. I thought we did the fish movement, and just to be completely clear. So yeah, we are clean, right? I'm not sure. Can you please stop sleeping? I'm not sleeping. You're sleeping. Who's sleeping? So, fasel, blah. Why is the fish not tapering off at the end? It should just, because our y should be 512 here for the fish, right? Can you? Or minus 512 here for the fish. Nice that I need 2 clicks. So I'm in the remote mode. I have the fish. And the fish is at minus 512, right? So the maximum rotation shouldn't be 35, right? In the middle here, the maximum rotation should be 35, and then it should taper off towards the end. So what is going on? This is the fish. Let's try quickly if we forgot to save. So at the bottom, the same, right? It should taper off. So we do the physics process, we just do the physics process swimming, we get the angle range for dependent on where we are on the y. And this is the formula we copied from the original. So, and then we clamp the angle against those two angles, right? And the angle is in degrees. So let's see. Actually, I want to do one more change here. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna call this new A, right? So this is new A. And then we do, sorry, we do new A here. Right? Just so we get the trace in one line instead of two, because why not? Still unreadable. I need to do some. So we are at the top, correct? We are at the top. So we are printing the angle and the limits. We are at the top. So why is it 34 to 35 all the time? It doesn't really change, right? It's 34 to 35. So maybe we also add this, right? Just for readability. If we have this angle, and I wish I could just have a print f here, probably we could. This print here is totally unreadable. Apologies for that, but that's the way we do it, right? So, okay, so if we are at minus, yeah, that probably works, right? We could do, we probably could do, we could probably do this. I'm just replicating what we have currently, so, and it's not D, it's F, right? So we could do this to this to this, and then probably it's gonna be this, right? So it's gonna be A, Y, M0, M1, NA. Yeah, so that is slightly better. What I really would prefer is print A, Y, and so on, but that's not going to work. I think this might be slightly better, the distance between what we're printing and this is, it's debug, right? So, and probably we can also do like can we do formatting like this where we want 5 digits with 2? Yeah, that's probably even better, right? So, hey, welcome to the stream where we optimize our debug output. Yeah, so, and probably can we do space here to get this aligned? Does that work? No, that breaks apart. Okay. I mean, I can probably do this, right? Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So the core question is still, right? And I would normally I would just run a unit test now and just have a unit test around this angle. because it should be that if the absolute value of y, so we use the same formula here, right? We're just lost track. Oh, this is our get angle, right? So we take the absolute value of y because we don't care how far we in what direction, right? Then we multiply by range, which is just 1 over 280. So as long as we're in the middle 280 pixels, as long as we're in the middle 280, so at 280, if we're exactly at 280, this will be 1, right? This will be 1. And then we take the sinus of that. So that makes sense. So I'm wondering why this formula, how did we mess this up? This is, we have the limit. We have the limit, which is 35, because we want to get the limit at the edges, plus minus 35. Our range is 1 to 280. We convert this from degree to, I'm not sure we actually want this, right? I think this is the problem. We actually want this to be in radiant. I guess, because this is a value between 0 and 1, 2 pi. So let's see. Let's give it a quick look. Yeah, so tapers off at about 280 and then stays flat because we limit the angle. Basically, if you look down here, we limit the angle to almost 0. So the fish is inching down very slowly. If you can see, he's getting down, but as soon as he gets close to the edge, it's next to 0, the angle, right, at which the fish is rotated. Thanks, it's from the old game. It was like done 10 years ago, and I did 2 rewrites already. So, and then same at the top, right, where the angle, the maximum angle is plus 35, and then slowly goes to minus 35, and then slowly goes down to 0. So that was a quick fix. That's nice. Thank you for that. It really does look nice. I love the fish, and if you haven't seen the original Fish game, it's wrong. There's a lot more to come, right? So this is the Rust version, which is completely without engine framework, all from scratch. We did that 3 years ago just as a proof of concept, and now I want to see if I go Godot or Unity or stay with my something is broken in the sound player. That's why we have this scratching. So yeah, we're gonna do more of this. And the goal is to have Unity and Godot and the old version look exactly the same, and then decide which version we keep, and then add some nice stuff based on that. And all the code for the old Fish is on GitHub, open source. If you want to take a look, just do what you want with it. I'm sorry about today. It's too freaking hot. Maybe I can open the window again. Maybe they won't start singing outside and making noise. I will do a comparison in the end. That's the idea, right? How complicated. I always see Godot is so complicated and Unity is so easy. And so far, 10 hours in, it feels like it's the opposite, but also compare the quality of the result. How big is the binary size? How long are the build times? How easy is it to build the WebGL version? And we did build a WebGL version of Fish. So things like that, yeah. Probably in about 40 to 80 hours of streaming, I will do a comparison of the whole thing. And fingers crossed, I might even do a supercut of what we're doing here, but I never get around to cutting the videos. So we wanted to have Yeah, but in the end, it does matter how fast we get to the goal, right? And if one engine gets me to the same result in half the time, then the decision is clear, right? Because I don't want to fight with engines or prove that I understand the complexities of the engine. I want to make games. And so far, my custom engine wins. My custom framework wins because I know that inside out, but that's an unfair comparison. So let's see where we are. Stay tuned, follow, come back. Yeah, if you're familiar, well, here's the thing. I used Unity for 10 plus years and I never used Godot before this project, and I'm still faster in Godot, which is weird. Let's say weird. But I was out of the loop in Unity for 5 years, so we start from scratch on both. So let's commit this real quick because I don't want to. So, and technically we're in episode 4. Fix limiting of fish movement in Godot. Not sure about the commits. I want to make sure what is Unity and what is Godot, but I don't care about the exact details, and I'm not sure. I'm just gonna sneak this in, right? Because I want to rebase and push so you can follow along. It's a feature. Yeah, Unity slowing down developers since 2004. Is it 20 years now? Making your 32 core machine feel like I'm gonna shut up now, or otherwise we're never gonna do stuff. So I want to do zones, right? And right now, to be honest. So let's look at the. No, this is the fish. Let's look at the game scene, right? And I just found out that you can do, yeah, you can do control command 1, 2, 3 and 4 to switch up there, which is nice. So, and we still have that problem that our layout is not exactly what we want with the zooming and scaling, but postpone that for later, right? So, what I want is we're gonna add the rocks again, right? We do the same as we did the last time. So we go to textures. Can you go to textures? We create a new folder. And I'm probably going to call that obstacles. Same discussion, project structure. I want to learn more about Godot before I go too insane about the exact format. And then I create a folder called rocks here, and uppercase, lowercase, same discussion, right? So actually, let's open this here. Let's open this and move this over here. Usually I work with 2 screens, so sorry for jumping between. So this is a shared no. Oh, this is the Unity version, right? So this is a shared assets, which was the basis for the whole project. And we go into obstacles, rocks, and I just drag the 4 rocks in here, right? Just step 1. We have the 4 rocks, right? And I think in Unity, just for comparison reasons, it doesn't really matter, but we used rock B. The thing you saw here was rock B, right? So how do I add rock B to the scene? I mean, this is the game, right? So maybe we do a very similar, and I should really rename this from sample scene. But maybe we should just have an obstacles layer, right? So I just add a child node, node 2D, call it obstacles. It's too hot today. So if I'm slower today than usual, I blame it on the heat, right? And in theory, we could probably just do this, right? Can we? No, we can't because it doesn't know what node it is, right? So let's say we want a sprite 2D, and we'll extract that in its own. Yeah, I could have just dragged it in here, but I want to experiment with it. Thanks. So I could have just done this, right? Adding sprite to D, sibling to selected node, blah, blah, blah. Or I just do this, same, same. Hey, you are experts. Good to have some experts because we're going to get stuck later. And so I'm going to drag this down here because what I want to test. I mean, obviously, if the fish goes here, right? And I like that the layering is correct. If the fish goes here, it should die, right? So that's step one, just simple. And then we do all the movement and placement, but that's step one. And it's nice to see because we render the background, then the fish, and then the obstacles. No messing with layers and Z offset. It's just the rendering order top to bottom, right? So if I put the obstacle here in front of the fish, I actually expect the fish to be in front of the obstacle, right? Yeah, and that works. Nice. But I want it actually here. So far, so good. Nothing is colliding, right? So yeah, I can this, but I think this is much more obvious, and we'll go into set Z order and layering and shaders at some other time. But for now, I think this is more intuitive. I also think about teaching Godot instead of Unity, so this is easier not to overload newbies with this, right? So I expect, I mean, this needs a collider, right? This needs some form of collision shape. So I never did this before, but what's the difference between... Wait, that documentation, we don't have a collision object to D, right? What are you talking about? I'm just going to do this, add this. Oh, okay. Okay, got it. So the placement of the chat today is perfect, so I might just fade that out, but then I don't read this. So we could also, yeah, actually, okay. So let's stay with the soul. This is a static body 2D, right? Because technically we don't even need a rigid body, we just need a trigger, but true. That is true. So what we really should do is read up on all the nodes. I'm just using Unity knowledge to guess the node types, but this makes sense. And then this, obviously, this will tell me. And I love this here. It says, hey, I need a shape, right? So let me just add a shape. Yeah, I want to create the shape. Thank you. Maybe I think we made very clear that it's convex, and I'm not sure how I added this now. Where are we? So this is the sprite, right? And I want to... I I heard you, but the here's the thing. The reason we do this is to understand how would somebody who never used this interface before go about it, right? Somebody who doesn't know the magic. So I'm very grateful for your help, but we're trying to be. I'm sitting in the airplane, have no help whatsoever. What would I do, right? So, and that will lead to some frustration. And I know exactly what you mean when you sit behind somebody who uses your tool and and doesn't see the big red button, right? I totally get that. Yeah, more like get your hands in dirty without looking if you might be pushing your arm into a gearbox. But luckily, so where does this end up? Now let's try this again because I got distracted a bit. All right, so we remove this. And it says, hey, this node has no shape, add a shape. Fair enough. Okay. So we add a shape. Actually, we probably add a shape. Yeah. So I like the error messages here. I like the error messages here. So I create one. I want to create a convex polygon shape, right? We could just go with a circle, but let's go. So the question is, where do I edit this shape? This everything else was super intuitive, right? I just clicked on here and had the shape. So we're gonna check the documentation. Right, that's what it's for. I don't want a physics introduction, really. And this is gonna open in the wrong window. So yeah, child of an object. I want to see how do you. I mean, here's the thing, right? Don't forget, and you probably missed the intro, but for the content, for the obstacles, right? We do have collision shapes, and we do want to load them from code at some point. So, I mean, the obvious choice would probably be just to do it simple right now and say, oh no, I didn't want to. Right, we could just say, hey, circle, right, and thank you for going, and that's fine, right? That's fine, but I wonder, there must be an editor for editing, right? There must be an editor for, so for box, obviously I have this editor here. So we could have a, right? So I would love to, where's the visualizer and where's the editor for this is the main question. And maybe, yeah, I want to draw it. I want to draw the polygon. The question is, where do I draw it, right? Because I'm not drawing it here. So the question is, how do I get to the editor for that is my main question, right? Because usually if I do bad example. I don't have an example here right now, but usually you can just click on this, right? You can click here. Ah. Yeah, wait. Oh, come on. Just lock this in, right? But so a node that provides a shape. So where's the difference between these two? Because from the naming, I would have expected the other one. Can I? Okay, so I can do this, and we're gonna go super sloppy today because it doesn't really matter, and we're gonna recreate all of these automatically. So, okay, so very okay, we're getting there, and the best way to learn. No, the best way to learn is to redo. So we have this collision shape, right? I'm not sure. Okay, can I get... Okay. Collisions will include the polygon in the contained error. Node has the same effect as several... Ah. I think solids is better performance-wise, right? So solids is better performance-wise, so... Sometimes it's better... okay, that's what I wanted, right? That's what I wanted. Not exactly, but let's pretend, right? So... And obviously it could just auto-fit, and it probably would if I added it correctly. I would love a lock mode where I say, hey, I want to work in this object I'm working in, right? So I'm creating a list of features I want, and technically there's a little edge here. And can I just control click to add? Yeah, no. Okay. Let's make this faster, right? Because it does not really matter for what we do today. And I'm pretty sure there's a shortcut like magic click, but for now, I'm fine with this, right? So it doesn't even have to be precise at all. So I like that it highlights the solids, right? The sub areas, however you want to call them. And there is a better flow, but for the moment, right now, I don't care. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. What does smart snapping do? I mean, that would be okay. Okay, that also means oh, what? Okay, 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 but we have our collider now, right? So it's good enough. It's good enough, and let me rename that to rock B real quick. We're gonna extract that in its own scene, right? So obviously the collider on the rock doesn't help us, and probably for the area 2D we have collision, and I expect layers and mask there, right? And so I would probably put the fish on layer 1, right? And the rocks on layer 2, and this just collides with, maybe it collides with nothing. Let's see how the direction is. So we do the same for the fish, right? We do the same for the fish. Interesting. We probably want to have an animated shape, but let's say we also have an area 2D, right? Because we don't want physics. And then we add a collision. In this case, let's use a shape just for comparison. Shape, right? And then I want a pillbox, probably. Do we have a capsule? Yes, we do. And this is gonna be wrong, right? So we're gonna can we rotate? Let's just say we only have body collision right now, right? So wait, I can do this, but I cannot do this, right? Okay. This is wrong with the animation, right? As soon as I play the animation, this will be wrong. So wrong button. Okay. This can't work, right? We know why. Because of our offset problem. So I wonder, can you show the collision shape in... So we wanted to go into the area 2D, right? We want the collision be on layer 1 and the mask is layer 2, right? And then I expect area entered, emitted when the received area enters this area. But I wanted the other way around, right? But oh, okay, we can do tile maps too. So let's try area added to the fish, right? And just do a print here. And we probably have our collisions masked the wrong way around. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, there was an entered. Let's get rid of this debug print here. So entered, entered, and entered, right? So that is nice. And I guess if we visible collision shapes, I guess. Yeah. So we can visualize that, and you see the collision shape is not perfect, and especially with the animation, it should probably be turning and twisting for today. We don't do that in Unity, so that's good enough, right? So we have a collision and it triggers correctly, which is really nice. And all we have to do is, I mean, it's super simple, right? All we have to do is, where is this? Oh, we didn't clean this up, right? We didn't clean this up because we did that in the Unity version, but we didn't do it in the Godot version. Brain stuck between two projects, right? Brain stuck between two projects, the usual. So in the process swimming, we have the hey if key, we go to this, right? And what we probably want to do, we want to have a func go to dying, right? Still learning GD script too, and we do both of these here. So if we press K, we do go to dying, and then in go to dying, we trigger the dying animation and change the state. And I like to change the state first, right? In case we have concurrency, we can early out if state is already dying, blah. But that means when we actually hit an object, right? All we have to do here is go to dying. And probably, can I? I need to restart for that to trigger, but that's fine. So I swim down, the fish hits the rock, and the fish dies. Bye now, I'm gonna go soak in the pool. And suddenly we have a game, right? Suddenly we have a game, and neighbors that blast music. Sorry about that. Heat death. So nothing happens if we swim up. Yeah, maybe because it's the fourth time I do this specific part, maybe it gets easier. Rocking, yeah, the fish is rocking, right? So obviously this is not a lot of fun. So what I want to do is I go to the game, and I need to move the chat to a better location. It doesn't like Godot, right? So what I can do here now, in Unity, this would be a prefab, but I don't want to go too much into Unity. I just make this so I could put this into scenes, and I will put this into scenes for now. We'll do a cleanup pass once we understand more what we're doing and how we want to actually I might want to preload all of this. So I'm going to create a new folder, call it obstacles, and put the rock B here, right? I just put the rock B here because that means, didn't I just turn this off? Well, fine with me, right? So what I just could do is I could duplicate this, right? And then move one here. And then probably should remember the shortcuts. Command D is pretty obvious for duplicate, right? And suddenly I have 3 rocks. And if I could reach the second rock, I assume I would die too. So I'm leaning towards the same trick we did the previous times, right? So technically, the fish is moving to the right. Well, to that right, my left, your right. My left, your right, I'm wrong. So technically, we should be moving the fish to the right and attach the camera to the fish so it follows the fish, right? Since this is an endless swimmer, that means, and the old version, I saw people do 35 kilometers, right? I don't know why. The fish is 10 centimeters. They swam for like 2 hours straight, right? And then we get into float imprecision. And I don't want the fish to go from 0 to 8 billion units, right? So we define this as 0, or rather the screen middle here, this here, where the mouse is, this here is 0. And since we're not moving the fish to the left, the right, my left, since we're not moving the fish this direction, we're going to move the rocks this direction. And the question is how fast we move them. Nakmizu. Yeah. 35 kilometers. I have stats. The old game had stats. I guess somebody was not taking its job serious. So we're going to move the rocks to this direction. So we could use an animation for that, right? We could just add an animation that moves forever, and that would work if the speed of the world was constant. And to be honest, the speed of the world is constant, but we might want to change that later with faster and slower zones. So let's actually delete these, right? We go in here, and I'm not yet fully sure, but I lean towards when I have the subscenes or objects in the scene, I only have a script on the root object of that, right? Well, remains to be seen if this is correct. And I want to call this script actually obstacle, because there's nothing special, right? Rocks, seagrass, rocks. Let's go with obstacle and see if we can reuse this script for everything, right? So we have obstacles, we have our func, and I need to clean up the scripts at some point, but physics process, right? Yeah, we only move, well, for the time being, we only move X. So what we could just do is, and I just learned that you technically don't even have to do the self, but I kind of, I don't know, 100 pixels per second times delta, right? We could just do this, and the rock starts moving, right? And if we go to the game, and sorry about, I'm going to turn off the chat and hope I see it on the other screen. Yeah. But the thing is, okay, in this case, I don't want to trigger settlement methods, but I think if I prefer it that way because it's clearer, right? And we will look into ups and downs of that in the future. So if I add 2 more rocks and actually go into this view and move the rocks, right? And can I get this rock, please, and move this one here, right? And yes, I know all of them are moving, and I guess I'm dying. And this is interesting because we shouldn't be dying if we're not swimming, right? Because we're still waiting to start. But also, if we're waiting to start, the rocks shouldn't be moving, right? So yeah, I could just use the position that's right. That's whatever works is the mode right now, right? So what we want to do, and we want to get to Unity parity to show that Godot is amazing, right? And I think I have to take a break in about 10 minutes. So we could use a singleton, right? So we could go to project settings and add globals and create a node and blah, blah, blah. I'm not a fan of that approach, right? But let's see. Let's stick with, so what I will do is I create a child node, which is just a node, right? Node, which is just a node, and we call this managers. I'm not saying this is the way to do it in Godot. This is the way I will do it until I have good reasons and clear understanding of why to do it a different way, right? So we call this game manager, world manager. I don't care, right? And then we add a script to this and call it game manager. And we need to clean this up. I don't care at the moment, right? And this game manager. So why don't we say, for the time being, it has an export actually var I don't want to call it speed. Right? I want to call it movement x, and this is the float, and the default is minus 100, right? So I can see in the inspector here, I should have the value. It would be nice if I could drag. Oh, I can drag and drop it. Nice. Right. So now in the rock script, in the rock script, oh, this editor is in the obstacles. This is okay. So this here is this, but this here is this. That took me a while last time. So, but that is nice because I can go in game now, and I probably want to make this access unique name. And here I can say, instead of this, let's make it a bar, right? Let's call it MX, movement X. I say percent game. Can I do this? Because it's under managers, right? It's not, well, I get movement X, and here I use MX, right? I could have used that in the same line. It's just, oh, obviously, if you use minus here and minus here, then probably we want this to be the fish movement, right? So this is positive. The fish moves to the right, but we move to the left. Yeah, it's fine. I don't need to see them as tabs. I just need to understand the basic UI, and I have a few dozen of ideas how to improve the UI. But first, use it for 2 months, and then add stuff. So right. So this is moving now. Obviously, this shouldn't be moving right now. So we're gonna do 2 more tricks, right? So we're gonna give this a function. And we probably could also use signals and wire this up via signals. Always multiple ways to do that. So this is the obstacle script we're in, but I want to be in the game manager, right? So we have a variable. We have a variable and call that paused, right? Yes, I know. Right, and then we need a getter. How do we do? I forgot how we do getters, but that's it. So, and probably we should leave the ready and actually, yeah, let's leave them there. Func pause. Yeah, no, thank you. I'm not even sure if I need the void there, right? And say self paused equals true. And I still type the semicolon. I need to get used to this, right? Self dot paused is false. Where? Oh, typo. Yeah, I think so. I want actually a getter for this, right? So I can do this and say if self dot. Let's do the, doesn't matter, right? We return 0, else return self dot movement x. Okay. Inside a getter, I can, because of recursion, right? Because if I if I use this, it would call this getter, and then we would get into an endless loop. Thanks for pointing that out to me. Thanks for not updating the. And since we are default paused, everything is fine, right? So we're having a lot of the state logic in the fish right now. which is fine, which I probably wouldn't do in a bigger project, but for the moment, I'm okay with that. So we say this is the fish, right? Where's my go-to dying? So if you're going to die, we do a game manager pause, right? That's one thing. And I also gonna do a func go to insert state machine here. We're just keeping things simple for the moment. And apparently I don't have to type the void, right? So if we're in this case, we just do self dot go to swimming, right? And also then we set the state early here. I don't like the editor 100%. It's a bit confusing at times. And we resume here, right? Just so everything is frozen. I touch the keyboard, everything starts swimming. I die, things stop moving. No fish hooks are not in there, but oh yeah. Thanks, Captain Fuba. We will do fish hooks. They will come from the top and move or wiggle around or yeah, I like that idea. I put this on the to-do list. That's hooks is a good idea. Hooks is a good idea. Thank you. We will add fish hooks. And now I start swimming again. And I start swimming and things are moving again. Nice. So I want to go into the script real quick because we had this magic, right? We had this in Unity in the obstacle CS. We just said, hey, if you're too far off screen, we just respawn. And we're gonna do that here as well, right? So if position.x is smaller than and hard-coded magic values, danger, sorry, position.x plus equals 2400, right? Let's use smaller values right now just to see what that means. So I start swimming, the rock moves and then just wraps around, right? Fine with me, but obviously we want to do this off screen, and we know that screen is never 2000. This is a small hack, right? So, but basically, okay, we swim, that stuff moves out. We swim, and that stuff moves back in, and it looks like there's an endless supply of rocks, right? And when we actually hit that rock, we die. Yeah, I know, but we want to be okay. You weren't here the last time, but basically what I want to do in the end again, and this is just a hack, right? What we usually would do is, so Fish, the nice thing is Fish works in all resolutions, right? You could kind of play like this. Okay, don't do this. But anything that's roughly landscape mode, right? You could just play like this. And that works. Or you could play on your super mega ultra wide endless screen, right? And that works as well. A bit silly, but it could be a 3D projection around you or VR or so. And I have to press the button. So we want to do that again. So right now I don't care about viewport because we have an item on the list that says enable this mode, right? So, and then we have to do runtime detection. Basically, we say, hey, if you are off screen, then we despawn you. And as soon as this edge here, and you see that doesn't work in the old version because it's using a different spawning logic, it spawns the new zone in too late, right? You see it just plopped in. So obviously we want that plopping in to happen off screen, right? So That's why I don't care too much about these numbers right now. They work for us, and obviously also once this rock is off screen, right? I'd never want to see this rock again. This rock is history. That rock is bye bye, delete, right? Q free. Q is it Q free? Q free. And then this would be a new rock that comes from the new zone. But since we don't have zone management and stuff, we just live with that, right? So one more thing I want to do, and that is the speed. And I set the speed to the exact value we used to have, right? So the value was 240. And that's why we kept all the units. And I could just do this here, but I actually want to do this here, right? I want to do this here. And that is jerky. That doesn't look smooth at all, my friend. Frame rate issues, precision issues. What's going on? This is jumpy. Doesn't matter. Parity, right? Parity. So, obviously, what we don't want, what you don't want, I don't want to do this, right? I don't want to do this and then do this and this and this, right? Because we have this thing that's called zone files. Obstacles. Oh, we don't have the source code for that anymore, which is but we have this zone files, right? Which is a binary format for defining not sure why it's recompiling. Oh, which is a binary format for defining this, right? And yes, we might want to edit zones in Godot as well, but for the time being, we want to load these zones, right? So we need to spawn these blocks from code, right? I need to find a way to spawn these blocks from code, and we will do exactly that after I'm taking, oops, I'm taking a quick break, just the 3 minutes to get rid of the pre-rolls, refill my water, and I'll be back with you in like 180 seconds. Did I mention that it is too hot? I think this could be a nice stream game. This could be a nice stream game where you just swim the fish together forever. Ooh, we should do a fish stream. Wait, we're doing a fish stream, but you know what I mean, right? I don't like that this is so jerky. I'm not sure why that is. That is not buttery smooth, right? So if we run this, I'm not sure why it's redoing anything because we didn't change anything. These are jerky too. I mean, I have a lot of stuff open, so I'm not gonna do performance debugging with tons of stuff open. And the break is over, so let's go back into. I want to do one commit. Right, I want to do one commit for this before we mess things up. So add basic obstacle handling to Godot. Probably we should have a naming system. So we added this to the script, right? A bit of cleanup. We added the capsule shape to be improved on, and we added these, which is nice. And then Godot. No, I don't want to. I need to create a git ignore for Godot, right? And then we have the obstacle, the rock, the game manager. And then I'm not sure. I'm never sure which of these, if I should add the imports or not. So let's ignore them. The rock, the rock, the rock, the rock, and the rock, and the rock. And we're going to commit this just in case. Yeah, paper clips. Never mention the universal paperclip. It's a decision problem. So what I want to do now is, instead of having this rock here given, right? So when I start the game, and I want to be exactly like the Unity version, right? So when I start the game, our game manager has the spawn zone, right? And the spawn zone here is called when we go to swimming. And that's fine, right? We have to go to swimming in here, so we can do that. So in the go to swimming, we want the game manager to spawn the zone, right? Spawn the next zone. We'll do some. Yeah, we'll do first gameplay, and then we'll make it nice. But thank you for that. So we just do this, right? We have a spawn zone, which will need to do something, and we also have a. I think we called it clear obstacles. We have a cleanup. I just wanted to be named the same, right? Not sure if this is the ideal name, and the cleanup is actually triggered when the fish, right? So let's do this. Let's do it the exact same way, right? The cleanup, and we're cheating a bit, is when we go to respawning, and we don't have that yet. So, right, go to dying, and then we have a fun go to respawning, and then basically we say self dot go to respawning here and steal all this code and put it in here, right? And again, I want to have the change of the state actually at the beginning to avoid double calls later. And then here we can say game manager cleanup, right? But for now, I'm not doing anything in the cleanup. So this all still works. The kill works. Nothing crashes, I hope. Let's try this. Respawning, and we continue swimming, right? So what I want to do is, when we press space, right? I don't want this rock to be here. This rock is not here, right? This rock does not exist. I want the game manager to create the rock nodes. And I have no clue how to do that. So we'll figure that out right now as we go, right? So Godot instantiate scene from code. Wow, that's slow. I don't want to, I just need the keyword. So I probably could use so you just preload it and then you instance it and okay. Sounds good enough. So we're going to do it very naive for the moment. So we have the game manager, right? And we say we have a var rock b just for the moment and say preload. Oh, nice. Nice. I mean, we just preload this, right? And then when we spawn the zone, we say rock b, better name, instantiate, right? Add state, I instantiate. I have no idea. Well, let's read the documentation. Packed scene, simplified interface. Oh, we don't need to. Okay, if we don't need that, then we just go with the default, right? Obviously, I expect this to, I mean, where does it go, right? Where it still needs to be hooked up to the hierarchy. So what I will do is I will make this a unique name. And then the nice thing is I can just drag this in here, right? Thank you for the new line. O for obstacle. And then I say add child O. This is still wrong. This is still wrong, right? Because this is interesting. This is interesting. We are in the obstacle, right? And if I look at the tree here, this is the new rock, which doesn't know where the game manager is, apparently. Right? So game manager here is interesting. Interesting. So we need to find the game manager at runtime, right? So on ready, we need to find this node in the tree, right? So I'm just high tree find get first node get okay, let's go here. We read the documentation. We are good citizens, right? So we have a scene tree. How do I find a specific node? First node in group. We could have a group. We could give it a group name, right? And we could just not sure I want to do this. I'm not sure I want to do this, right? I'm not sure I want to do this. Right, we could do this. Well, no, we could do the get. Now I messed this up. Let's do this again. So we want to find the game manager, right? Yeah, but I want the unique name, right? So what you're saying is we could, here's the script, right? So we can say get node, just want to documentation here, get node pass, relative pass or absolute pass. And I want to avoid knowing where the game manager is, right? I could just write wrong script. I wish this was working, right? But it won't. It won't, because then if this was working, come on, can you please? If this was working, right? I mean, that's the thing, right? That's what I was getting at. So what I would usually do is the game manager instantiates this, right? The game manager instantiates this. So what I would do is set game manager, right? I'll probably just have a game manager equals self. That's how I would do it, right? So our obstacle has a I mean var game manager, which is class equals null, right? And then our game manager actually needs a class name. Or is it just class? I can never remember. All right, so yeah, that's what I expected. It's class name, right? Where yeah, it's class name. Don't. So we could do this. Obviously, I didn't fix the obstacle fully, right? Because I now need to use this here. I'm not so happy about the tight coupling, but there is some ownership in here, right? And obviously, we should have a guard here, right? We should say if self.game manager not equals null, which is a bit annoying. We could also early out, right? So just to see that again. And that's where how you structure this, right? Who owns what and who tells what, but all obstacles will be spawned by the game manager, or in the future probably by a zone manager once we split this up. So it's fully okay to tell it. And I still didn't show you what I would love is what I would prefer, and I'm not sure if GD script can do that, but game manager here, I would love to say self here, right? As a constructor, initialize a parameter so we know it's always set. But let's not go too much into GD script at this moment. This works. I'm gonna remove this. So we have nothing, right? We have nothing. We spawn the zone. Everything works fine. It will wrap around. We kill. We die. We respawn. And we start swimming again. And we add another one. Yeah, because our cleanup is messed up, right? And to be honest, what I don't want actually, so Oh, it's under obstacles. So we still need to set the position, right? And the position is wrong, and we're gonna steal that position from the Unity project, right? So we're gonna extend. We're gonna do this very, very manually right now, right? Because we will load this from the file, and remember, this is what we did for Unity. And I'm just gonna cheat a bit and gonna do an array 12 minus 400, right? So the minus 410 is given. So var y equals minus 410. And then the var x equals, let's say 1200 for the moment, right? And our obstacle here, actually, if we look at the game, and this is interesting, remember, because our fish is at minus 512.0, but our fish here is at minus 512. Because here's the thing. If I go into the rock, right? If I go not into the textures, but scenes, if I go into the rock, I want my rock to be at 0, 0. Oh, wait. I want my rock here to be neutral, right? I want this to be at 0, 0, but then we need to spawn it at the actual position we give it. So in the game manager, when we spawn the zone, when we spawn, I think what we do, we say o.position, position. It's a node 2D, right? Our obstacle is a... Why is our obstacle a sprite 2D? Oh, oh. So what I actually want is, can we do this? I want this one level up, right? I want a node to do the above this, because if you look at the fish, I want the node 2D here, and then I want the sprite under it. And this is gonna be interesting, because I could just change the root node, right? I could change the type here. Can I copy this? Copy this. So how do I put a new node? How do I add a parent node here? How do I add a parent node here? Can I just... So can I copy this? So I'm gonna, just in case can I duplicate this? Let's duplicate this, right? Back up. So what I want, I should have done this correctly right from the start, right? So I want to change this to be node 2D. Right, so this is a node 2D now. Let's forget about this. Now it extends node 2D, right? But I just lost my sprite. And I'm not sure. I mean, I could just add a new sprite 2D and be done with it, right? And obviously choose the right texture here, which is, And I think that's quite a common flow, right? So that probably works, right? That works. But I think the flow of adding one extra. I want the root node. I want to insert a parent here, right? I want to insert a parent here, and I can do it manually, but I have to create the root node, which is a bit annoying. But we managed to do it, so I'm not gonna look into that. Our rock now has this root node, right? And that root node has a transform, and that transform is 0. And the transform of this is 0. And if I look at my game scene now, this rock here, we technically don't need. We just use that for debugging in editor, right? So the thing is, I want to move this object here, right? So the transform of this node is changed, but if I go inside, the transform of this is not changed, right? So because it's one abstraction layer, and that's what we want. And then we go into, I'm just going to save this. I don't need the backup rock. I don't want this. I go into script mode. And now in the game manager, I want to say, can I set, why can't I? So this is interesting because this gives us, this gives us a node. This gives us a node, right? But we know it's a node. Not happy. Let me check something real quick. Sorry about that. I have to check work for a minute. How do I set the position? Because here's the thing, right? I know that this will be a rock B, right? This is a rock B, and this is it's super confusing. It's this, right? But this is a node 2D. And it spawns it as a node. So Godot instantiate set position. Yeah, I just wanted to set the position, but that doesn't work, right? That's what I tried. Or is the auto-completion just messing with us? Is the auto, because I think we can just set the position to, I don't know, X and Y, right? This is, oh, the autocomplete was just messing with us. Or not. uh, I hate that it stops when non-existent functions position. Okay. Oh. Oh. Yes, I can use a vector. I just want to check real quick. Okay, that's better. So we start running, and obviously minus is plus and plus is minus, and I entered the invisible node, right? So just, yeah, I promised I just do this as a test, right? So let's do this. This is better. Right? Obviously, funny thing, remember that invisible rock down here? We can still hit it. So let's get rid of that in the scene real quick, because that was just for development, right? So that is one thing. The second thing is Godot is upside down. Well, upside down to the fish coordinate system. So we spawn it at the bottom, right? And I don't want to spawn one rock. I want to spawn 3 rocks, right? And I'm just going to let it loop through once. I'll let it take a zip and then swim into it just to show it's working. So far, so good, right? So, but what I really want is wise is an array, axis, not wise. 1200, 1500, and 1800, right? Can I do that? And then I do a loop and say, can I say 4x in XS? This is not going to work, right? Oh, it is? Oh, that was just a wild guess, right? And I hope now I'm spawning 3 of them. Spawning 3 of them, ignore the jittering, it's just gameplay, and all of them, I can hit any of them, right? And then I die. Yeah, I could pick a random one, but for now I want a lot of them. So, and we have our fixed zones, right? Well, how are we doing for time? Well, we still have a bit of time, so maybe we get into zone loading. That would be interesting. I would like to try that. But the thing is, now every time we die, right, there's more rocks because we don't do a cleanup. And then I swim back in and I spawn more rocks, and yeah, let's do the cleanup. All of this super hacky for the time being. It just needs to kind of work, right? So can we do 4 in can I do get children? And actually, I wish there was a take children, right? Something that takes everything out, but so we iterate over all children, remove it from the tree so it's gone instantly, and then we queue the free so it will be gone for good soon. So spawn, kill, swim out. We still need to do a, hey, fade out and do whatever you want, but they're gone. And I think that brings us to Unity parity, which makes me happy because this was faster than Unity again, once more. This was faster than Unity. And there's a lot of hacky stuff. We just want to do this game and then we do a full cleanup pass, right? So, and zone hard coded zone. No. Hard coded zone spawning in Godot. And now we're getting to the real tough stuff, right? So rock scene, the fish, we added a bit of logic here, the game manager. And I think that is it. And now I'm not sure if our plan is if we're still on track, right? We got so excited. So let's do a quick update on what's going on. So I didn't work on it for 4 days, so I forgot what I was working on. So hashtag Godot add basic, add simple zone management, right? Add obstacles with collisions. So I want to load the initial zone, right? And we gonna need a bit of hack here, but basically what I want is I want to load this zone, right? I want to load this thing and spawn the objects in the correct places. And we changed the naming scheme a bit, so we probably have a mapping table. Basically, how do I load this binary file, right? So I have no clue, but we're just gonna do it. So I'm not sure why this is in here. This shouldn't be visible in the... we have recursion now. Okay, but what if I create a new folder, right? And call this actually, let's call this resources. Resources, and then we create a folder in here, right? And call this zones, right? And in zones, in the zones, and this is where we cheat a bit because we steal from the old... Oh no, we have the zones here, right? So we just add this one zone for the moment. And there's a lot of stuff in there that we cannot handle, right? Did I? Did I just drop that in, or did Godot basically say, yeah, go away with that file? Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I don't have any clue of what I'm doing. So Godot add binary files. Import plugin or resource loader. Probably we should write an import plugin, to be honest, but we do a resort format loader. Good keyword. So this page is up to date. I mean, I stopped trusting this because I found some problems already. Godot loads resources in the editor and exported games using resort format loaders. They're queried automatically where the singleton or when a resource with internal dependencies is loaded. Fine. Standing this class allows you to define your own loader, which we want. Be sure to respect the return times at values. You should give it a global class name of its handle types. You might also implement a saver. I don't care about a saver. I don't want the import plugin. So methods. Thank you. There's no gets the list of extensions for files this loader is able to read. I mean, let's just do it, right? Let's just, I think it's finally time to create a scripts folder. And then we create a new script and call it new zone resource loader, right? Because the N in NZNE is new zone. New zone. So, and this probably has to extend the resource format loader, is my wild guess. And the class name is new zone resource loader, right? And then we start top down. So exists, I don't get recognized extensions. I mean, packed string array. Okay, so we have a get recognized extensions. Func get recognized extensions. And that returns I want to handle NZNE, right? Nothing else. Oh, I have to return this value. And but the question is, I still want to drag this and NZNE in here, right? Why doesn't this work? I mean, I could just copy it in, right? We can just manually, where are we? We are here. We could probably just copy it in. Hello? Hello? Ah. So this is Unity. That was not where I wanted to be. So we go into Godot, resources, zones. Oh, it's in there. It's just not showing. It's just not showing. Now that is interesting. That is interesting. So no dependencies. We have the returns a script class name as associated with a resource under the given path. Oh. So I think we need to create a new resource, right? So under scripts, and we're going to put it under scripts, probably, actually, no, I want to, yeah. Okay. I want to new zone, right? New zone. And new zone extends resource and has a class name of new zone. We're going into the deep end of the water now. So get resource type. gets the class name, right? So get resource type. So we implement get resource type for our resource loader, right? And we return new zone, right? I mean, I'm digging in the dirt here, so to say. I'm digging in the dirt, right? So how do we load this resource, right? So I think what the game manager should do, the game manager, this editor is non-idea, right? But what the game editor should do for the time being, and we probably should do this on ready or something like this, right? Wait, on ready. But and we probably shouldn't do this, reload the ones we need from the zones. But what we want to do is, what if we have a var zone, right? That is a new zone. For the time being, we need to do some conversion between new zones, old zones, but for now we just do new zones, right? And this is null. And onReady, I could do onReady here and do preload, but let's say self, it's getting too late. I should stop. Preload resources. So why is my custom unexpected identifier in class body? Yeah, this is not how this works. So does not exist. But the zone 000 I love Fiiish exists, right? I love Fiiish. This does exist, right? Preload file has no resource loaders. Okay, but that means in the project settings, okay. Now it's getting interesting. Custom Godot, go to custom resource loaders. I probably would have done this differently. Resource format loaders. Creating, okay. Can we not do this in C++? Can we please do this in, okay, maybe. So we define the thing. We need to have a load. We handles type, recognized extensions and handles type. Okay, so this is the one that actually does the load. This says, what? Okay, this one returns the extensions. This is the resource type. And handles type. Handles type. Maybe we didn't go far enough. Handles type tells which resource class this loader can load. So you might just handle resource for them, really? Okay, fine with me. I'm not happy the direction this is going. This is going too far. Cannot return a value of type string as bool. Oh. Fair enough. Could not preload resource file. Okay. Can we load the resource file? We can load. Who's loading the resource? I mean, if we have a typo here, right? We'll probably say, hey, okay, this is null because it didn't find the file, but this found the file, right? So it also is null. So how do I register? Registering the new file format. Godot register with the resource loader handler. So where do I... So where does this code go? Where does this go in GD script? Where does this go? I mean, we could probably just have a function that generates the thing. Can I just... What do you think we are doing here? And here. Probably we need to overload more. The question is, which of these are mandatory, right? So probably we need to overload the load. A mini example would be good. The absolute minimal example, right? Because there are quite a few. The question is, which one do we need? I mean, obviously, we probably need the load. I know. The question is, how do I register this? Yeah, I know. But maybe you can help. The question is, how do I tell Godot, hey, please use this, right? How do I tell it, please use this? They are queried via the resource loader singleton. Right, so in the resource loader singleton, I can probably add a resource format loader. Is performed implicitly. Is it? It doesn't feel like it. I mean, so where do I register the extension? Oh, okay. So it's actually initializing it, which is good. Is it actually already called? Oh, it's already called. Okay. Okay. I was missing that part, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I probably just miss a few more. Okay, so it's actually already calling the load, right? So let's make this a bit nicer. So that was it. It already, we did the right thing. It's trying to load the new zone via our loader. So all we have to do is now, okay, var. Let's call it n for new zone, right? Is new zone dot ins. Wait, we have a new zone, right? I'm still struggling with new. Yeah, that's what I wanted. And then we just return the new zone, which is broken right now. Okay. So far, so good. So the game manager. So if our new zone has a var name string equals unknown, right? And I start this, it says unknown. Oh, nice. Nice. So we just implement the parsing method and we're done, right? We just implement the parsing method. We have about 5 minutes to do that and we're done. So the question now is just file access dot. We're still using the documentation. So file access open read, right? That's, I wanted dual screen setup while I read the documentation, but file access open, and probably I could just use the original path here. And then I have access to the file, right? We're doing a lot of printing right now, and I shouldn't be using, we could push errors and warnings, right? But let's print for now. So we have file access here, and if we have file access, I mean, if we have file access, once we have a file, right, that gives us file access. I'm pretty sure we can get values from that. And we probably want to write a whole serializer and probably So what's what does get buffer do? Returns. Do I have a back here? Do I have a back navigation in this here? Because I want to go back where I just came from. Get returns the whole file contents as packed byte array without any decoding. I mean, that's what we want, right? Thanks for that. So we could just say get file as bytes, right? So instead of this, we say get file as bytes because that's closer, and then we don't need to iterate. And then I want to say file.length. I hope non-existent function. Yeah. Nice, right? So I really should have the documentation on the second screen. I know. So we have a packed byte array, and that has... Okay, so we can decode various fields of it, which is basically what we want, right? Because that's very close to our zone decoder here, right? I mean, we have a serializer, so it reads in the ID. No, this is an object. Let's start with the zone, actually, because now we only have to copy this, right? For now, we just copy this blindly and then see if we can make it through the file. So we have to check the magic. So we read a new 16, right? And check if the magic is correct. All right, so this is the old code. Yes, I know. Can you ignore that? How is the block GD script block comment? Really? I want to comment out that whole block in one go. Okay. Okay, so can we at least do multi-select in the editor? Toggle command K. This does not look nice, but yeah, can I have the comment at the beginning of the line to see that it's a reference? But okay, so we want to read magic, right? So we say file.get you, and we go to the documentation again and the packed byte array and say decode U16, right? Oh, we have to remember the offset? That's annoying. That's annoying, right? I just want to... Oh, that is annoying. I want to pop the U16, right? So usually I would do a serializing wrapper that does that and keeps track of... Maybe we do that. Maybe we do that, right? So what if... thank you. We need to do an ad break. I'm sorry about that. But what if... And we're going to put it into... Forgive me. Right, so what if we have a serializer here that just doesn't do anything, right? And that had a func from file. How do I return a well, we have a load file, right? Load file. And instead of, where's my resource loader there? I should have put the serializer down there. Let's ignore that, right? So what if we say var s for serializer equals serializer dot new, and then we say s dot load file, right? And error handling we will do at some point, right? So we go into the serializer. To this we click and say var file equals file. Probably we don't even need the file, we just need the data, right? Which is a packed byte array equals null. Where is, wait, what? I messed this up, right? So this is not file, this is data, right? So this is data, and then we have self dot data equals data. The thing is, I don't want to overwrite the existing data until I know this data is valid, right? And we have a var position, which I would say it's a use size, but it's probably just a U64. I don't know, because where's our packed byte array? It's an int. It's an int because we decode at byte offset int, right? So it's an int. Can we snooze the add break real quick? Is 0, right? And if we have loaded data, self dot pause equals int. And then we have a func serialize u16. I'm gonna get into why I do it like this. Right, there is a crazy but true reason, and the value is u16, and the return type is u16, right? Yeah, wrong language, right? And we just return 0 for the time being. And we have a lot of errors here. Just have a dummy array, right? So the nice thing is what we can do here now is we can say we have the variable magic, right? And then we say s.serialize u16 magic, right? And ideally I would love to give it a pointer here, which we can't do, so we do magic equals this, right? So the serializer knows if it's in read or write mode. So if it's in read mode, it reads from the file and puts here, and if it's in write mode, it takes from the variable and puts in the serializer. So the serialization and deserialization code is the same, right? So there is if magic not equals 0x4f53 push error broken magic percent 04x percent magic. Can we do this? Because of a parser error. Could not resolve class serializer because of the parser error. Oh. What? Can I just say this is uninitialized? Wasn't it? Is it all int? Is it all int? I need to look into types in GD script, so it's probably just all int. And I mean, serializing original path not declared. No, this is pass, right? We're doing a lot of boilerplate right now. Built-in type cannot be used as a name of its own. Right, because we want a 0 here. Not all code pass because, right? So if self dot pause plus 2 is larger or equal self dot data dot size, return null, else self dot data dot get, I forgot already, I decode use 16. Fair enough. Fair enough. Decode use 16. We're doubling a bit up on what we actually want to do, but let's see. We're also, can I do this? This would be amazing. Yeah, I know. So I do this, and then I say var result is this, and then I return the result and do the self dot pause plus equals 2 here. I mean, I would have preferred the better readability of the other variant, but let's snooze these freaking ads once more. Let's see. Cannot convert argument ROM ref count. What? Cannot invalid type in function serial in base ref count. Cannot convert argument 1 from nil to int. Oh, true. True. Because this needs to be an int, right? Good magic. Let's just do a random number here to see invalid access to property, and we got the error here. Failed loading resource, broken magic. We probably could just iterate over the whole file, but historically, I know nothing about Godot, right? If I iterate over a file, and this file is so this file is less than 3 kilobyte, right? If I iterate over a file byte by byte, will it just access the file all over again? Or so I just load on block, and this is probably one file system block, so it should be like this, and I don't risk the I don't risk the chance of how do I say? I don't risk the chance of accidentally doing 3,000 file system calls, right? And it's just, and it also we are doing basically a remaster here, right? So we're using this in the old system, the serializer. I forgot what, but we're doing that a lot. So we are reusing stuff that we need to do anyway, right? So I'm quite okay with that. So this is because this is so version is pretty straightforward, right? So that was just boilerplate, but now it's getting easier. So good magic. So the magic is good, and well, the magic will be good now. And then we say, let's say version. This will become obvious later on, and maybe we're making our, no, not maybe, but probably we're making our life harder than we should right now. So version needs to be 1, right? So why do you jump when I double click? So we're only supporting version 1. Unsupported version. There's version 2, so, and I'm not sure. I'm not happy. Maybe we should just return the zone, right? Maybe just for easier error handling, we should just return the zone here. Maybe we still throw the arrow, but we don't crash. And since it's the zone, we will iterate over the layers and elements and then just say, look, there's nothing in it, so there's nothing to spawn. It's better than crashing, right? So I have to do an ad break in 3 minutes. I'm sorry about this, but the magic is interesting, right? So we do the chunk magic, and for that we need an U8. So we have a var. And I hope we can just, so there's a bit of rust in here. So I hope I can just take this out and it will know that this is a U8. Right, so we say for m in chunk magic, we say var b is int equals 0, and then we say b equals serialize s dot serialize, because the nice thing is it's a bit more work right now, but we basically get the writer. We'll get the writer for free. So if b is not m, right? If b is not m, we do a push error broken chunk magic and just return n. Basically, we check the header here, right? We check the header here and just, so we shouldn't get broken. Oh, maybe it helps to implement the functions we use, right? So there's a bit of copy and paste, and there's better ways of doing this, but there's a longer term vision here that I don't want to go completely into with some checking. Hey, Emo Giraffe, we're serializing data and deserializing data. So I have the serializer because I want also packed and compressed and verified, and so we can write markers in the stream and say, hey, this is the U8. If somebody tries to read a non-U8, throw a warning in. We get super big files that will help us, right? So that's why we're using this as an abstraction layer over the file system. So it didn't throw an error, and just to verify, let's put in broken magic in here, right? Always do the negative test. And it's not doing it. That's interesting. I don't want to. Okay. Why does this? I don't like the printing. 4946. Oh, wait. Oh, my bad. My bad. I really want unit tests, but maybe we should decode a U8 here. 46 equals FF, and actually it says 46 equals FF. Oh, and it pushed the arrow, right? I broken chunk magic. I missed that, and if I remove this broken data again, it is all good, right? It is all good. So we're slowly getting our way through, and we're actually at flex. Flex is nice because flex should be E, and I will. Oof. I will. I'm not sure. This is UTF-8, right? So we might get into trouble. But I want to do at least this, right? You're gonna do at least this. So yeah, the ad break starts in 3 minutes, so I'm not gonna get through that. So I'm gonna do the flex, right? So var flex equals 0, and then I say, actually, let's see if I can do that as a char, right? So flex equals s dot serialize u8 flex. I say if flex not equals e, right? And it's not broken chunk magic. It's compression flags not supported. We probably do a %D, %C. I'm not sure what Godot script wants here, but we're gonna find out. Int and string interrupt operators, so it cannot compare. It cannot compare an int to GD script compare U8 to character. Thanks, Albanka. We'll get there, and we'll go back over the streams and say, hey, yes, we intentionally did it this stupid way here. Basic syntax, variables. Can I get data types, controlled structures, return values, classes, string manipulation, array typecasting. GD script types. GD script reference types. Can I get a list of supported types, please? Built-in types. Bool float, string, string name, node, vector, rect, plain, array, packed array, string. I mean, what we could do, right, would be super simple. We just take an ASCII table. Yeah, obviously I wanted this version, and just say we want E, so that is 4, 5, right? 4, 5 in hex. So we could just say, instead of, yeah, that is not, we could just do OX45, right? And do this. It's not nice, but it will work. Right? So if I run this, let's remove this trace here because it's a bit noisy. This works, right? Because I could just add one here again, and then it wouldn't match anymore. And then it says, hey, error here. I'm not sure if I want to really push the error, but it says compression flex E is not supported, right? So I could do a print to get the E string from the variable, but for the time being, this is nice. And the ad break is running, and I forgot about that. I'm sorry. I'm a klutz. It's over in 20 seconds, and I have half an hour to go. So ad break over, ad break over. So we have the flags, right? And this is okay. So this version here is okay. So let's remove this, right? So this means this is our data file. This is the version of our data file, and this is a chunk inside. So this chunk says this is a new zone. And actually, let's hex dump -c assets zones. I love fish. Right, so this is a magic, a serialized object of version 1, and this is a chunk magic, and basically chunk magic says this is a fish new zone, and actually we only go to this is a fish NZN, and the E here means it's uncompressed. Right? So if it was compressed, this E would be B or G, plus or minus, or divided by 18. So we have parsed everything till here. Nice. Nice, but I at least want the zone name today. So we have the chunk, we have the compression flags, and this is the version of the chunk, right? So sadly enough, I'm going to do the version here again. Right, and this is now reused. So can I just I would love to have a block here, right? I would like to do this. How do I start an empty block, a new scope? So we call this chunk version, right? This needs a bit of restructuring, and this is a U32, but we already know how to do that, right? So we just copy this. We have, and none of this fails, right? Because system reads would fail with the end of file, and it just says, yeah, if you stupid read past the end of file, you just get a 0, right? A bit of defensive programming in the deserialization. So the game doesn't crash. I'd rather have an empty zone than a crashing zone if there's data wrong, right? So again, version We just copy this, and this chunk version needs to be 2 because we changed the... Did I actually have magic here in the version? This should be version, right? This should be version. So let's try that real quick. Non-existent serialize U. Didn't I just implement that? I think it's time to stop. Serialize U32, right? My bad. So debugger shouts there's an error. Unsupported chunk version 2. Wait. But it doesn't crash, which is good. Oh, yeah. Compare this version and then check the chunk version. I think it's time we call it a day. So all clean, no errors here. So chunk version or zone version, right? And now it gets interesting because read as fixed string 64 means read 64 characters and make that a string, right? So var name equals nothing. And this is name equals s dot serialize fixed string 64, right? And this actually I want to print. And this function doesn't exist. So we're actually going to copy this once more, because the nice thing is, right, fixed string, and this needs 2 parameters, right? This needs the length and the s here. So this is the value and the length, right, which is an int. And this is a string. And this is a string. And we're only implementing reading mode here. So as soon as we add writing mode, this... So if the string, if it's too short, we just return nothing. And now it's getting interesting, right? So we need to... So for I in 0 to... I'm not sure if that works, right? GD script for loop. I don't know. Loop. Well, C4. For X in, for I in range. For I in range 3. Range length. Okay, for I in range. For I in range L, right? Should give us 64. Var, let's call it bytes, is nothing. And we say var b equals self.data decode u8. And here we do self pos plus I. Right, and say bytes I equals b. Yes, I could do this in one line. And then at the end, we just add the... Maybe it's visually better to understand like this, right? Maybe, not sure. This is, I probably wouldn't do this in Go. This would be one of the places where I would replace GD script, right? So we have an array of bytes now. Can I actually debug print this? Can I print bytes? Identifier R not Does this work? Serialized cannot convert argument from object to string. Oh, this... Okay. I thought it was smart enough to understand this, right? Cannot convert argument to from object to string. Because it was smart enough, but I wasn't. Invalid assignment of index on without... Oh, can I do a bytes dot push back B instead? It's performance, right? So we're reading 64 bytes and then GD script string from UTF-8 bytes. This is interesting. This is string. I'm pretty sure there's a string from begins with C escape. C unescape contains count. I don't want to do this manually, right? And it's technically only in the ASCII subset. 2 ASCII buffer. 2 UTF-8 buffer, okay. Is there from UTF-8? So we have a 2 UTF-8. Get string from UTF-8. 2 ASCII buffer. Packed array, byte array get string from UTF-8. Okay, so if we have a packed array, we can do get string from... Okay. I mean... So what if this is a packed byte array? And then we say bytes dot var r string. We need to do error handling here. To do error handling, because it might not be valid UTF-8. We don't want to print the bytes. Expected statement. What? End of statement are found colon instead. Oh, wrong language. And obviously there's the equals missing here. So function new not found. Wait. How do I create a new packed byte array? Oh, I just, wrong language. I should really, it's just constructor. So in theory, at this point, we should have the name. Name to do. Oh, because maybe we want to return the result here. The name of the zone is 0, 0, 0. I love fish. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm sorry about that. Nature calls, right? Nature calls. Be right back. Let's try this Windows thing again, right? Ah! 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 Hiding behind the background. Yeah, ad break ends in 10, so we gonna actually were there. Yeah. So step by step, we're almost halfway through this. So we have the name. This is basically ensuring zero termination, so we can forget that. Difficulty var difficulty equals 0. Difficulty is for selecting which zones we have, so equals s dot serialize u16. Not sure why difficulty. I really would like difficulty, and then var size x. This is a zone size, which is probably wrong, but we're doing legacy here, right? So I'm just going to steal this line here, call it, and I know that we have a u32, right? And then we just do the same for y, and probably we should have just a serialized vector 2 somehow. So all of this still works, right? So maybe we just print out the info here, right? Difficulty. The editor could do some autocompletion. Can I just duplicate the line? No, it's a different shortcut here. Okay. Still getting used to the editor, which is fine. Let's align this a bit here and see. Difficulty is wrong. Difficulty 1 is correct, but size is... It's a bit annoying that I have to rewrite this because of the format specifier, but Python inheritance leaks through. What I believe is that what I believe is zone name difficulty. Is this an endianness problem? Or is this just I don't care? Oh, this is an F32. Now this is interesting. So this is an F32. So this is a F32, which doesn't exist, right? So we probably need to do some type. Let's try stupid typecasting first. And this will be wrong, right? Can we just... Could it be that simple? 3000 by 1024. And the height is always 1024, right? Because we have no dynamic zones. And the width is 3 times that. That sounds reasonable. So we don't even need to do anything. Okay. So that means we are here. And now we can go into reading layers. I mean that's nice, right? So let's read layers, and the concept is exactly the same, right? We read the layer count, and then we say for L in range layer count. And this is interesting. We say a layer equals a layer. And then we say layer dot serialize with the serializer, right? We pass in the serializer. And this will be, I have no idea how to pass a reference. Maybe that doesn't work. GD script pass reference. All complex types go as references. Okay. So, oh, here. So the new zone, right? A new zone has var layers, which is an array of new zone layer, right? Initialized with empty. And I would love GD script multiple classes in one. This is the only exception why I probably can't, right? Okay, so let's have... that sucks. Create script new zone a layer, right? And this is technically not a resource. So it extends nothing, but the class name is new zone layer. Right, and that does nothing for the moment, but we can use it here now. This means we have a func serialize, which gets S, which is a serializer. And that just does nothing for the moment. Why can't I? And that means the resource manager. I mean, probably we shouldn't do it like this. Let's remove the self serialization and deserialization. For the moment, we just do it straightforward, right? So we have a new zone layer, and we should have to be cleaned up, right? So the zone has layers, and then the resource loader just says, okay, I create a new layer, and then I do the layer logic in here, right? So basically we're now in the layer loader, right? We're in the layer loader, and we will probably push that down, but not today. So instead of this, which is to do, Right, we probably go more like this and then do a Command K. And here this is this. And after loading it, we just basically say n.layers.push back the new layer, right? Colon after condition, what? For L in range, what? Oh, this is a new zone layer. Oh, here I have to do a new. What? Okay, that's interesting, but I can live with that. So, does this really? We really have a name for the zone, right? So, we read the layer zone. I'm actually gonna. So, this is the layer. Let's read the layer, right? So, this is the name of the layer, but it only has like 16. So, it will fail after that, right? No, it's a different scope. I'm in a new scope, right? The new scope starts here. So what do you... So we get junk here. Oh no, the first layer is obstacles, and then we iterate all 4 layers without reading the other data, right? So we have the name. So we have the name, we have the object count. We have the object count, right? We have the object count here, which is a U16. Then we have a 4O in range object count. We do something. And that is basically the same, right? So var objects equals new zone object dot new to be created, right? And then we say layer dot push back object. We really should have cleaned this mess up because this script doesn't exist, right? So let's, can I just duplicate this and call this new layer known layer object? Hierarchy is important, right? And the new zone layer has var objects is an array of new zone layer object that defaults to empty. Wait. Wait, did I write this and this worked? Did I write this and this worked? I'm not sure this should be working, but let's see. Right, and I think the resource loader, we're far out in no man's land and we're pushing the days, so let's just, so in here we layer pushback object. Oh, yeah, because layer dot objects dot pushback object, right? So we have the parsing error because we're skipping this part. So from here we're out of sync, right? So let's go into object, and this is basically the object load slash serialize. So I'm gonna put this here, And this is object count for load. We did, right? Can you not totally mess with the layout? So, and I'm going to call this OID, right? Equals 0. Actually, we're going to do this differently, right? Because we will do this anyway. So we have a var ID equal ID u16 equals 0, a var crc u32 equals 0, a var pos x. Let's do it like this, right? Float equals 0, a var pos y float equals 0, and a var rotation float equals 0.0, because otherwise it probably will complain. Oh, it's an int, right? It's both ints, because we don't have that strong of typing. This is our objects, right? So in our serializer, and I wish I had started with self-serialization, and if you had more time, I would just do it right now. So what we can do now is we can say object.id equals s.serialize u16 object.id, and then I copy this line a few times and say crc is 32 and pos x. This editor does not like overwriting, right? Pos y, and this is rotation. And the last three here, F32s. So we read the ID, the CRC, the position, the X, the Y, and the rotation. And we are done serializing our object. So we have an obstacles layer, we have a pickups layer, we have a debug layer, we have a pickups debug layer. So we have all the data. We do have the data. So in theory, what I want to do is when we spawn a new zone, right? The game manager, remember, it has the zone. It has the zone, and the zone is of type new zone, right? Is of type new zone, and that has the layers. So what I want to do is, and this is, so when we spawn a new zone, right? When we spawn a new zone, we say if self.zone not equals null, and we say for layer in self.zone.layers, right? We say for O in L.objects, right? We just say print O. Sometimes the editor jumps all over the place. I haven't found. So if I press space now, I expect a bunch of objects being dumped here, right? And we get a bunch of objects here. We know these objects have an X and a Y, right? So why don't we just instantiate a rock, right? We just instantiate a rock, and it's okay. Let's call this object, right? We instantiate a rock and we say this is object pos X, and this is object pos Y, right? So we spawn our 3 rocks. Maybe we don't spawn our 3 rocks. Maybe we don't spawn anything. and just spawn what we found in that zone. I wish you could see this keyboard. And okay, so we're doing the right thing. Obviously, these rocks, we're spawning a rock for everything, right? So we say, okay, we remember we have this multiple layers. So we say if l.name equals hack, right? We only spawn obstacles for the time being. We only spawn obstacles. We ignore everything else, right? So not the coins, not the pickups, not the object layer 2. So let's do that. Oh, oh, we never set the name. We never set the name. So the layer, right? The layer has a name. The layer has a name. So obviously our serializer, we loaded all the data, but we're not using it. Right, so this is the zone name, what we want the layer name, right? So we have the layer name here. So we can just say, what about layer.name instead? Obviously, we have to do the dot here as well. So that looks better. I mean, we have three problems, right? A, it's upside down. It's upside down. We know that up is down and down is up. So we have to flip the Y, which should be easy, right? So when we spawn, maybe we flip the Y on load, right? I mean, not sure. So maybe we flip the Y on load, right? This is the upside down, right? So we know it's upside down. That's one problem because our old levels used a different coordinate system. Fine with me. Right, so let me pause here and actually run the legacy one, right? Oh, just hitting the keyboard randomly in the right position. And maybe do it like this. So we ignore the coins. We have this rock here, right? We have this other rock here. So we have different kinds of rocks. And here we have these two rocks, right? Then we have the little seaweed here, which is this one here. Then we have another seaweed here, which is this one here. And we have a rock at the top and then two rocks. So we have rock at the top, maybe, and then three seaweeds here, and there are multiple layers, right? We ignored obstacle layer 0, 1. So you can roughly see this is the right things. Obviously, the upper rocks needs to be flipped. I mean, flipping is easy because we know the rotation, right? I wish I could cue when I'm stopped because we have the rotation, but we ignore the rotation. So I wonder if O dot rotation degrees equals 0. Can I do this? Okay, so I suspect if I put 180 here, everything will be upside down. Everything is upside down. So what if I put the OBJ rotation in here, right? The upper rocks are upside down and the lower rocks are right side up. And obviously I'm missing the mapping from, and here it gets interesting because, right, there's no, which rock is this? And this is where the CRC comes in, right? So, because the rock has this CRC, which defaults to a different value, but it doesn't really matter because zone manager, when I create a zone, I do exactly the same thing, right? I find the zone and then I spawn the zone. And the spawn zone basically matches the entity type by the CRC. Well, it gets the config from the CRC, so it's a bit different, but basically we need to, so entity config, configuration, so it's hard-coded here, right? So for example, our rock B here, if we go to entity ID, our rock B here would be this hex code. And maybe we just do that in the loader, right? So just for visualization, or actually let's do this in the game manager. When we spawn the zone, right, we say if object.crc equals, and we just want the rock B, right? Rock B, then we do this. So we only, equals, we only spawn rock Bs. And as you see, I mean, there are only a few. If I stop this and go back here, so I think if I look at this and this, so I think this is rock B, right? This here is rock B. You see the thing here, and this is rock B. So this is rock B, and this is rock B. So with that, all we have to do is create the other object. And here's the thing, all right? Here's the thing. We could just, here's the obstacles, right? Here's rock B. Here's rock B. We could and probably would and should, maybe we will create this manually, right? But we have legacy data. So if I get out of this, we have all of this legacy data, right? And we have all of this legacy information, and that is a pivot point, and we have the shape files for it, right? We have we could load the shape files for the, so we have the shape files here, right? Which is the same exercise again, which has a list of polygons, and we will. So I probably won't write a resource loader for that because we don't want to load them on runtime. I'm gonna create an importer for that. So when I drop the shape file on it, I can use that shape in some form. Or maybe we just create it manually. So what I will do for now is I will duplicate this. Can I just duplicate this? Command D and call this rock A. All right, then I go to the game manager and say basically that this should be a configuration array, right? So we say, well, basically what I will do is match obj.crc, I don't know, gd script match case, match, okay, it's just with a colon. So we could just do this for rock B, right? Same. Do I need to do a break? I don't need a break. So let's remove this, right? And then I do this and put in rock A there. And I'm going to steal the entity IDs from here, right? It's basically just a CRC32 of the name. So we could just generate that, but that's going a bit far. So here we just say rock A instance, and this should not be here, right? This should be also dynamic, and the mapping should be dynamic. But now we also spawn rock A. Well, we spawn rock B as rock A, right? So we have a bit more. Oh, rock A is not used. Okay, let's have a quick look at the textures. I want the long one. The long one. So rock A. Oh, F, E is the long one, right? So we do a rock E. We might just do all of them anyway. So E, rock E, we add it to this down here, right? And maybe add a comment that says rock A. And sometimes with legacy data, you have to do it like this, right? This is rock E, so we spawn rock E. And obviously rock E doesn't exist, so we duplicate this and call this rock E. And I added this, and the nice thing is the change here is this is the wrong texture, right? So we just put in the texture for rock E, and I'm gonna debug visualize collision shapes because we copied the wrong collision shape, right? But if I start running now, can I do an else here? How can I do a something else? Can I do an else in a match? Match pattern block pattern block. Change default to a single underscore. Okay. So single underscore is print unhandled CRC obj.crc, and we're gonna do a percent here and do a percent 08x, right? X. So we have quite a few of these. I'm wondering. I want to see a rock E, right? Oh, oh, maybe, just maybe, we should take the rock E here and do it rock E. And since this is lowercase, we want lowercase here as well for easier comparison. I mean, in the end, it's, oh, look, so we have the right sprite, but the wrong collision shape. But that is only a matter of going in here, going here, going here, right? I have no idea how this editor. Nope. So now nope. How do I edit this now? Edit points. Left mouse button, move, right. How do I I don't. I create points. How do I get into edit mode for this? How do I edit this? I want to take this point. How do I... Oh, okay, we're in select mode. That's not what I... How do I edit? Rotate mode, scale, pan mode, ruler mode. How do I edit this? We are in edit points mode, right? Why can't I edit points? Okay. How do I... Okay, I want to edit this one, right? Godot, edit, collision, polygon 2D. I want to see, yeah, I want to see, how can I edit this? And here it gets... Yeah, thank you for the video. I don't want a video. How to draw a collision polygon. So how do I edit this? How do I mean, shouldn't this be... So I am in the polygon, right? How do I edit this? I can just change the values here, right? I can just change the values, but I want to drag this point here. So how do I do this? Right? I want to click this point. Let's just... Oh, I can't do that. Right? I don't want to move the polygon. I want to move the point inside the polygon, right? And I'll watch some tutorials overnight, right? I'll watch some tutorials overnight. I mean, we're loading the zone, so that makes me pretty happy. We need to add all the elements, which is probably a 5-minute job. So I think this is a good time to actually... Here's what I will do. Here's what I will do. We have A, B, C, Oh, would be nice to get focus back there. D, E, and F, right? Yeah, and F. E and F. So A probably should be called rock A just to avoid confusion, right? And the sprite is using texture. Can I see the name of this texture? Texture B, right? So it should be using texture A. Then we have B, which is B, and the sprite should be using texture B, ignoring collisions for now, right? And this probably should be C, and the sprite should be using texture C. And then we have D. Let's rename this real quick, and the sprite should be, nope, should be using texture D, right? And then we have E, and E probably is already correct. Well, kind of, but we know the texture is correct, right? And then we have F, which should be using texture F, which is currently isn't, right? F, so let's drag in F. Save this, go into the game manager, we quickly load, and don't do it like this, right? This should be C, D, F, C, D, F, F, D, C, and then we go here and just steal this array real quick, go down here and so I'm going to do it slightly different, right? Because I'm annoyed. So what if we say var o equals null, right? And then we say down here, that's why I hate indent-based coding, right? If o not equals null, we add it, right? We do all of this. Just a bit of cleanup. We remove this print here. We do this, and then all of these are the same, right? Tiny bit. Yes, I know. I shouldn't. So, right. So if we know the CRC, we instantiate the right object, and if we have instantiated it, we hook it up, and then we just go B, C, D, F, B, C, D, F, B, C, D, F, and then we go, this is C, D, F. So A is A, B is B, C should be C, right? D should be D, E should be E, and F should be F. Yeah, almost last click of the day. Right, and if I run this now, all will have the wrong colliders. And we're only showing that one layer. Right, so let's fix that real quick, or l.name equals obstacles. What was the name of the layer? Obstacles 01. Right, we could also just do all layers now, but if you look at this, ignoring the colors, and then, ooh, this was good, right? And then we swim in here. Swim. Parallax background. We need to get the background fixed. So if you look at this, we have this letter here, right? We have this diagonal here. Ignore the, let me actually debug, visualize collisions. Let's turn this off. Yeah, I can't pause when I'm in full screen. My bad. So we have this here, and when we have this up and down pattern here, so we have this here with a smaller one here, this up and down pattern. And we're loading a zone from disk. And if you can load one zone, we can load multiple zones, and we need to fix all the collision shapes. But wow, we load legacy zones. I can't tell you. I thought this is going to be more difficult, but so actually, let's update the to-do, right? Godot, and we refactor this, right? Load all legacy new zones and spawn them. And zones, zone is a bit of a stretch, but let's not be too crazy here, right? Add zones. We're just doing the loading part, so we're still here in progress, right? Just wanted to update this a little. E4, add legacy zone loading in Godot. And we wrote our own custom resource loader, which is, that's amazing. Right, so we added the rocks. That needs some cleanup, and the spawning logic is all over the place. Don't do it like this. Godot, create node, editor. I really need to write a ignore file for Godot, but I probably do that off stream. So import. I'm not sure if I need those. That's it. Oh, there's one more thing I want to test. What if we export this, right? And I just export the code signing, notarization is disabled. Yeah. I override the DMG. Maybe one day I will override it. And we go into Fiiish v3, Godot, export, macOS, and this was created seconds ago. We really need to change the icon. And it spawned on the wrong screen, but if I start swimming now, it's missing all the resources because a little quirk of Godot, right? So we preload res rock a tscn, right? And if we look into the DMG, right? So can I please? Oh no, wait. Sorry, my bad. Here we go. Show packet content, right? Contents, resource. It's a PCK file. So, okay. Let's try something real quick. So I just dumped the file, right? So we could probably also just do a strings. Can we do strings? Does it work? And then we say, I don't know, rock A, grab rock A. So you see it doesn't have the scene obstacles rock A in here. It has a scene obstacles rock A dot remap in there. Because it does some weird magic that I didn't yet fully understand. So I think we need to load the remap and not the scene file. So export is currently broken, but today was long. Right? So it runs in the editor, which makes me super happy, which means I can't let it run anymore just going up, because we will just die, right? And wrong collision box. So, and respawning also works, right? So I'm Antti. It has been my pleasure. I hope to see you on Thursday. Stay safe. Love you all. Bye bye.